Hey art nerds, I have another alcohol marker flower tutorial for you guys. Today we are painting a beautiful passion flower. We're going to be using fluid easy block watercolor paper. This is their cellulose paper that is block bound. It's a little bit more convenient to use it like this. We're going to be sketching on it with a graphite pencil. We're going to ink that with a Sakura Pigma FB, so make sure you have those two handy. Then, once it's had a chance to dry, once it's had a chance to cure, we're going to go in with our alcohol markers and other mixed media and really make this flower just seem to pop off the paper. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Let's go ahead and get started. Art nerds will have full access to this tutorial, including a downloadable reference photo, a download of the line art, and a copy of the transcript. This is also going to be available for purchase on Gumroad if you're not interested in joining the Art Nerd community. But if you would like to join the Art Nerd community and gain access to dozens of early access tutorials every single month, you can head on over to patreon.com/natosoup. As with our prior illustrations, this was inked with a Sakura Pigma FB and allowed to dry overnight before the pencils were erased. This was drawn, markered, and watercolored on fluid easy block watercolor paper, which is a cellulose-based watercolor paper that's pretty commonly available. Okay, so our piece has been inked. It's cured for 24 hours. I just scanned it, so my art nerds are going to have a scan of this if they'd like to print it out and work along at their own leisure. I'll also have a copy of the photo available for art nerds as well. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick our colors and start swatching. The colors used in this tutorial are PB180, Y08, PB167, G05, G17, PB38, PB180, YG quadruple 0, YG00, YG01, YG03, B01, PB167, G17, PB38, B29, B69, YG quadruple 0, YG00, Y04, BV quadruple 0, RV triple 0, BV triple 0, V12, RV63, PB52, RV06, PB56, BV00, BV01, BV02, PB177, FV02. The Qor Mini Palette was also used, as well as 3 watercolor brushes, a large round, a medium round, and a small round. The watercolor pencils used were Derwent Antique White, Derwent Deep Indigo, Supercolor 2 in Cream, Albrecht Dürer Permanent Green, Supercolor 2 in Green Ochre, Derwent in Fern, Derwent Green Aquamarine, Albrecht Dürer Magenta, Derwent Sherbet Lemon, and Gouache. So now that our colors have been selected, swatched, and sorted, let's start doing some marker magic. Step 1. Foreground leaves. Apply PB 180 around outermost sunlit leaves. Apply to edges and along center vein. Apply Y08 along exterior of leaves as well, covering some areas of PB 180. If you wish, blend out with PB 180. Apply B29 in shadows of foreground leaves, where leaves overlap, where petals cross leaves, etc. Apply PB 167 in 2 successive coats to saturate leaves, leaving a rim of layer 1 where you apply layer 2. This will help blend the prior colors. Don't worry if the B29 does not blend out completely. For overturned leaf, where we see an olive green leaf back, apply another layer of Y08 while PB 167 is still wet. If you'd like to blend in a bit more light or lighten up your green, blend back with PB 160. Apply G05 to the bottom half of leaves, covering your B29 layer. If desired, blend with PB 167. Allow layers to dry. Apply a layer of G17 in the shadows. Blend out with G05 as desired. Allow to dry. If desired, apply final shadows with PB 38. Step 2. Passionflower buds and stems. Fill in buds and stems with YG00. Apply a layer of PB 180, focusing on sketching in the shadows and leaving a significant amount of YG00 still visible. If desired, blend out with YG00. Allow to dry. Apply a layer of YG01, focusing on the shadows. Allow to dry. Apply a layer of YG03, further reinforcing the shadows. Allow to dry. Apply very light layer of B01 in darkest shadows on blossoms. Apply PB 167 to the stems. Step 3. Background leaves. Sketch in leaf shapes using G17, filling in with 2 layers as you go. Apply PB 38 to shadowed half of leaf. Blend out as necessary with G17. Allow to dry. Fill in background with B29, feathering your outer edges out into leaf shapes. I recommend sketching the leaf shapes first and working backwards from there. Allow to dry. If you wish, layer B29 leaf shapes over your green background leaves to break up some of the forms. After layer has dried, sketch and fill leaf shapes with B69 if desired. You may also use this as a chance to fill in the shadows. Step 4. Center of the Passionflower. Apply YG00 in long strokes, leaving some of the papers white in the center. Using the same type of strokes, apply YG00 to the center and sporadically in the tufts around the center. Apply a small amount of Y04. Step 5. Passionflower Petals. Petal by petal, begin with an all-over fill of BV00. While still wet, apply RV000 to the center of each petal. While still wet, apply BV000 to shadow areas and V12 to the center. Blend out as needed. Keep strokes light and feathery. Think about how the individual tufts of a feather branch off from the spine. Allow petals to dry. Once petals are dry, revisit with another layer of V12 in the center of the petal. Once dry, if desired, reapply shadows with BV000 or apply another layer of shadows with BV00. Apply RV63 to the center of each petal, thin stripes going down the length, then feathered strokes on either side. Allow to dry. Apply another 3 stripes down the center of each petal and feather those off with PB52. Allow to dry. Do the same, covering less surface area with RV06. Allow to dry. Color shifts as it dries. If you wish, feather in some RV000 and allow to dry. Apply 3 stripes down each petal with PB56. Allow to dry. Apply petal shadows with BV00. Deepen petal shadows with BV01, blending them into the white center tuft to break it up a bit. Add a final layer of petal shadows with BV02. Along the center pink stripe on each petal, feather in PB177. Apply 3 stripes of FV2 down the center of each petal. Down the center of each petal, draw 3 lines of PB53. Feather it off from the center outward at the base of each petal. And I did not mention this earlier when I was going over the colors that we used in swatching, but I do recommend that you guys feel free to swatch your own colors, particularly if you don't have the colors used in this tutorial, and you can always augment with watercolor. And my intention is not for the narration to perfectly match up with the actions that are going on, but to give you guys kind of an idea of what I'm doing as it comes along. You can find a link to the transcript for this video in the description below. Alright friends, so we have finished with the alcohol marker portion of this tutorial. We're going to be using the Qor Mini Palette for the watercolor portion of this tutorial. If you guys are not familiar with the Qor Mini Palette, you can check out my unbox and swatch review and my field test review of this palette, or you can check out our last alcohol marker flower piece. I used this palette for that one as well. So what I like about this palette is it's a really good selection of colors and everything is really saturated. So if you think watercolors are just pastel, this palette will prove you wrong. You're also going to need 3 watercolor brushes, a very small round, a medium size round, and I'm using a Menso brush. And then you're going to need a larger round, or you can use a quill. You're also going to need a cup of water. For the watercolor, we're going to be using the Golden Qor Mini Palette, 3 watercolor brushes, 1 large round, 1 medium round, and 1 small round, and a cup of clean water. Step 6, background leaves. Mix phthalo blue and Payne's gray into a light wash and apply over background leaves. If desired, mix a strong mixture of phthalo blue and Payne's gray and apply wet into the shadows of the leaves and allow to dry. Step 7, foreground leaves and flower buds. Apply a wash of Qor Gold where you would like to add a pop of contrasting yellow. I applied this to the foreground leaves as well as to the buds and the seed pod, and I allowed this to dry. Mix phthalo blue with initial phthalo and Payne's gray mix and water it down and apply to shadows of foreground leaves. Allow this to dry as well and change the water in your rinse cup. Step 8, Passionflower. Mix burnt sienna with lots of water. Lightly apply to the center of flower. You can use a higher saturation mix to add brown details to the seed pod. Allow to dry. Mix a light wash of dioxazine purple with Payne's gray. Apply to petals starting at the center and blending out as you go, if so desired. You may apply a more saturated mix of this wash for shadows. Allow this to fully dry. Once fully dry, use your small round to mix a slight amount of water with the burnt umber. Apply in light, delicate strokes to add brown accents to the center of the flower. If desired, do the same with Qor Gold. And you don't have to use the Qor Mini Palette. You can use whichever watercolor palette you wish. You can also go over this with water-based markers if that's what you have on hand. We are in the home stretch for finishing this beautiful passion flower. What you're going to need next is your watercolor or your color pencils. I'm going to be using Derwent Inktense Antique White, Derwent Inktense Deep Indigo, Supracolor 2 Cream, Albrecht Dürer Permanent Green, Supracolor 2 Green Ochre, Derwent Inktense Fern, Derwent Inktense Green Aquamarine, and Albrecht Dürer Magenta. Feel free to substitute with your favorite colors or what you have on hand. This is just what I happen to be using. And you don't have to use these specific brands. These are just the brands that I like. So let's go ahead and get started. For the watercolor pencil part of this tutorial, we're going to use Derwent Antique White, and every Derwent pencil mentioned in this review is a Derwent Inktense. Those are my preferred watercolor pencils. So we're using the Derwent Inktense Antique White, Derwent Inktense Deep Indigo, Supracolor 2 in Cream, Albrecht Dürer Permanent Green, Supracolor 2 in Green Ochre, Derwent Inktense Fern, Derwent Inktense Green Aquamarine, Albrecht Dürer Magenta, and Derwent Inktense Sherbet Lemon. Step 9. Foreground leaves. Use permanent green to add additional shadows to the buds. Use green aquamarine to add shading and help push form with the foreground leaves. Add additional shading with deep indigo. On the seed pod, use green ochre, fern, and deep indigo to add depth. If desired, use sherbet lemon to add yellow rim lighting to the leaves. Step 10. Flower petals. Feather in antique white to add highlights to the flower petals. Feather in magenta into the pink centers of each petal. Step 11. Flower center. In a radial pattern with short strokes, add cream to the center of the flower. White gouache. Materials used: M grams white gouache, small brush, and clean water. Step 12. Apply white highlights using gouache if desired. Step 13. Adding shadows to petals using Derwent Inktense Deep Indigo. And this is as desired and where you feel you might need more contrast or more shadow added. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today, helping me color this beautiful passion flower. I have a transcript of the tutorial down in the description below in case you missed anything. Just a friendly reminder that my art nerds will have access to this photo as well as to this particular line art if any of you guys are interested in working along with me. If you are not a member of my art nerd community, you can join by heading on over to patreon.com/natosoup and joining me every month on Patreon. It can start at just $1 a month, but $2 is really where the keys to the kingdom start to become unlocked. And at the $15 a month range, you get a shout out during my Power Hour art stream. So if you like what I do and you want to help me continue to do it, that is a great way to support my work that costs very little money. If it wasn't for my wonderful, wonderful art nerds' encouragement and support, I would not be able to maintain this channel or the blog. So if you like what I do and you want to help me do it, please head over there. Another great way you can support what I do here on this channel is by clicking that subscribe button, hitting that bell notification, and that way you never miss a tutorial. This is particularly great if you like my art streams and you find yourself missing them on occasion, so please make sure you are a subscriber. This tutorial was recorded to help me prepare for my Coloring Flowers with Copic class taught at the Nashville Plaza. I've just signed up for another round of Plaza classes, so if you live in the Nashville area and you would like to learn in person how to do something like this, make sure you sign up. You can find out how to sign up by calling them or by heading on over to their website. And I always have sign-up information available over on my blog at nattosoup.blogspot.com. So I want to thank you guys again for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It lets me know you care. And if you have any questions that were not answered in this tutorial and were not answered in the transcript down below, feel free to let me know in the comments. Thank you guys. I hope to see you guys again really soon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye guys!